Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. And as you can see, we do not have Nick Soutter here. Instead, I have with me in the studio Mage Greywolf. Hello, Mage.
Hello.
And I have BS Not Accepted, John. Hello, John. John, do you have audio?
Technical.
And we have the ever lovely Jenny Morgan, and it is Jenny Morgan's birthday. Happy birthday, Jenny.
Birthday.
Thank you very much.
You are most welcome.
You may need.
I hit 36 today.
Wonderful. 36. Okay.
Jenny, you may need to come out and come back in.
No, I'm working on it. Working on it. Just doesn't happen immediately.
Okay. As everyone knows, Nick Soutter was supposed to be my guest for today. This topic was supposed to be what we're seeing with elderly people, particularly elderly people in power like Rudy Giuliani and Richard Dawkins, that are suddenly coming out and saying things that just don't make any sense and are so off from what you would expect. Of course, not really with Giuliani. He's always been a bit of a nut. Just kind of exploring what's going on in politics with that, and we were going to get into the topic of term limits and so forth, but Nick had to cancel, and because Nick had to cancel, we're just going to do open mic night, and we have lots of birthday greetings for you, Jenny, from Nerdy Rodent.
Thank you very much, Nerdy.
From Omnum.
Namadan. Namadan.
And
thank you.
Desk.
Captain Desk? Oh, Captain Desk.
Captain Desk.
Hey, that's different.
Jack, if you are free, I sent you a link, and in addition, there's also a link that's pinned in the chat. If you're free, please feel free to jump in and join us. It would be great.
And thank you, Beck.
We're still getting a lot of stack there, Jenny.
Okay, I'll quit. See you later.
Okay, we'll get Jenny back in a minute and see if Jenny can reach.
I didn't say I'm coming back.
Oh.
Well, you didn't have to completely leave. I mean, usually just popping out and popping back in seems to usually fix that.
I think she was kidding about not coming back. I think she'll be back. So, Mage, what is new in your neck of the woods?
Not really all that much. I did a lot of shopping around the other day and got Molly some stuff.
Okay.
The dog.
Okay. You live in Crazy Town.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I'm just constantly flabbergasted at the crazy things that come out of Ron DeSantis's mouth. And he's ticked off so many people that I'm surprised that he has anybody that still thinks he's a decent person. But is it true that a lot of people are kind of turning away from him now?
Yeah. He's lost apparently a lot of big donors. That's a
good.
big thing. Yeah, he's pretty well floundering right now, from my understand.
John, what do you think will happen to the Republican ticket if DeSantis ends up, basically being not working out because he can't get donors and can't get any support, and if the orange guy ends up barred from the ballot in enough states that he can't win the election, and so the Republicans turn away from him? Who do you think will step up next? Any thoughts?
I think that maybe Chris Christie will try to step up.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably try to get more.
Let's see here. I can pull up some kind of polling data.
Yeah, well, I think the polling data would shift dramatically if those two events happened. Um, uh, I'm been watching very closely at what's going on in Colorado, where they've got that suit to get Trump off the ballot, and if that goes through, that could be huge.
Trump is still way ahead of everybody
Oh
here,
yeah,
but
no question.
DeSantis is actually still in second place, and followed by Ramaswamy Ding Dong.
Excuse me, everyone. I have a suggestion.
What's that?
If people would turn off their mic when they're not talking, because I'm having trouble with the audio.
What are your thoughts on it, Jenny? Or did you hear what we were talking about?
Nope.
Okay. I was asking if DeSantis becomes a non-viable candidate because of having lost so much support and losing his donors, and if the orange guy ends up getting barred from the ballot in enough states that the Republicans can see that he has no path to victory, who do you think will end up being the front runner at that point?
I pray. I pray to Gaia that it's not Vivek. He's an inexperienced little twerp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like I said, it looks like right now it's Trump way ahead, followed by DeSantis, and then DeSantis pretty much has a double lead on Ramaswamy. So pretty much we're sitting out. If we knock Trump out of the running, DeSantis would be next in line at the moment, but he's floundering, as I mentioned.
Yeah, the only thing is I think you can't really go by the polls for one reason is if Trump got knocked out, all of his supporters are going to have to go someplace else, and we can't really use the poll. We can't know from the polls which way they're going to go. It's all speculation, though, on my part.
I cannot imagine a scenario where the Republican Party would nominate a POC.
Well,
agree.
Ramaswamy actually he pick up Trump votes in that scenario, seeing as he's sucking up to him.
Trustee Ape says, "Happy birthday, Jenny."
Oh, thank you, Trustee.
And Irene asked, "What happened to Nick Soutter?" Nick had to cancel. I don't know why Nick had to cancel, but Nick had to cancel. So unfortunately, we were not able to get Nick in today.
My guess would be the votes that are currently with Trump would probably be split between DeSantis, Ramaswamy, and Pence.
I don't know. I think Christie's got a good chance.
No, he's running completely anti-Trump, so the Trump voters would not likely gravitate towards him.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The Trump voters are going to vote for JFK. There's nothing you can do about it.
Actually, I imagine a bunch of them will write in Trump even if he's not on the ballot.
But, well, that would be fine. That's a nice waste of a ballot.
Oh, and Mark Caesar says, "Happy birthday, Jenny."
Thank you, Marky Poo.
So what's new in your neck of the woods, Jenny?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, that's okay. It seems that's actually a good thing sometimes. I mean, when we're not all pulling our hair out over crazy things going on. One thing I did see that was crazy. Now I didn't have time to research it long enough to verify it, but I saw that Trump called for the execution of people who are looting and shoplifting. Yeah. He was pointing to what was going on in Philadelphia and saying that if anyone's looting, the police should just shoot them, basically. And I was wondering if maybe that included people who commit fraud as well.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's such a dope. Did you see his antics with that gun he purchased?
No, I did not.
Well, this stop at the gun shop was titled as spontaneous, but how did all the press get there? they showed him a gun. It was a Glock. I think it was a 9mm or a 45 caliber. I don't know. 45 makes sense because they love his number,
Mm-hmm.
Colt
Mm-hmm.
45 and everything. Anyways, it had his face engraved on the grips. Of course, it was a picture of him when he was about 20.
Mm.
Um, and apparently he bought it, which you're not allowed to do by law if you are under felonious indictment by the federal government.
Mm.
Yeah, he still looks pretty old in the picture on the grip.
And then to make things even more fun, when he left and he was in the limousine, he's got the window open and he's hanging out the window, pointing the gun right at the photographer. I mean, dead straight on at the photographer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that technically is brandishing. Another infraction.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
Mr. Shadow Kitty says Philadelphia police do that already. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, that's why the looting's going on in the first place, is because the police ran up and shot someone at a traffic stop and then got off scot-free. And I do not get that one at all. They lied to cover it up. And then after it came out that no, that this guy just pulled over and the police just jumped out of the car and ran up and shot him.
Was that the one, the little silver car on the side of
Yes.
the road? Oh yeah.
Mhm. Yep, that little tiny one. Yep. And it was all caught on somebody's doorbell cam. And they found him that there was no reason to charge him, which blows my mind. I mean, if the police are allowed to just go up and shoot anybody that they pull over for a traffic stop, then we better stay in our houses and out of our cars.
I'm thinking I'm going to stop speeding.
Yeah.
Well, I've said it before. I'm more concerned about the cops than the criminals. The criminals, I can at least fight back.
Yeah. Yeah. John Hunter has an interesting question. Do you guys in the US have any genuine protest parties like the Monster Raving Loony Party in the UK?
No, not that I know of.
Yeah,
There,
I'm not
there,
aware of any either.
there might be some crazy people on campus somewhere, but I don't know of anything myself.
What's the Monster Raving Loony Party? I'm not familiar with that.
Isn't it just I had the impression that it was just a parody of a political party in general, and that it was taking on ridiculous issues to be their platform and that sort of thing. But I don't consider who I got it from an authoritative source at all. So
Okay. Well, that certainly makes sense. It fits in with what John Hunter said.
Well, obviously, the party we need to be backing is the leopards eating people's faces. They're quite honest about what they stand for.
Okay.
I love that Abel fable.
Are people getting an echo in their sound, or is it just me?
No
I'm
echo
not
here.
hearing
No.
I'm not hearing an echo. Maybe
Thank
you have
you.
more than one source open? Ox says, yes, John, we do. They're called Republican and Democrats.
I want to encourage everybody, when you write the word Republican, substitute a capital Q for the C, and after the N add AZI.
Or
Yeah. Okay.
we can just replace the B with a
Republican.
G.
Republican Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can just replace the B with a G.
The
The
B
B
with a
with
D? Oh,
Republican.
Well, we could go completely crazy and do it REPUL, but then you have to add S and I and V. Repulsive.
Ah, okay.
That's kind of clumsy. Not too funny.
Repulsican? We could do Repulsican.
I'm okay with it. But you really got to put the Nazi in at the end.
Yeah, I do like your Nazi one. Republic-Nazi.
I, with what Elon has messed up Twitter with, now we're getting all these conservative nutcases on our timelines, and I can't believe the number of young women, and I referring to that at somebody under 40, 45 years old, are saying how much they love Trump and that it's the best thing that ever happened to the country, and it's like, how can you say that? Do you know that if he gets in, this is the last time you get to vote? They're taking away your rights.
Seen that. I have not seen that at all. My feeds are almost entirely on religion. I do see some feeds with regards to transgender issues, but I haven't seen anyone like that.
Oh,
I'll have to go look at your page, your replies and so forth, and see if I can find that.
yeah, I'm definitely very into the political end of stuff. I see hardly any trans stuff this time around.
Well, I actively look for that because I go read Erin in the morning almost every day, and
That
so
kid is
I see what she's up to.
that kid is incredible.
Yes, she is. She is. Mark Caesar says, "Don't introduce the Republican Party to Australia. We'll vote for anything with pub in it."
That's pretty funny.
Mhm. John, are you not having that echo issue anymore? Or are you still hearing
Yeah,
echoes?
no, I'm not having it. I closed everything down, even though I couldn't find any other instance of it, and rejoined again, so it's gone now.
Okay, very good. That's good.
I got some fresh pop today.
You did?
Yeah, just a little bit, about maybe a nickel, dime's worth.
Well,
That's
that's a good
legal
way.
in Wisconsin now?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. That's right. I forgot. You're in Minnesota.
Hmm.
I've been looking at all the pictures of where you were born in Wisconsin. I forgot that you live in Minnesota now. Okay.
That's a good way of celebrating on your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I
I'm in favor of people splurging just a little bit on the month of their birthday.
Well, it was a gift. I didn't have to.
Purple says, Jenny's right. There have been sitting members of Congress who have said women should not be allowed. I've mostly just heard that from the right-wing fundamentalists that women shouldn't be allowed to vote. And I don't know, most people have been telling me not to take that seriously because there's just not enough of them to do anything about. But I disagree. That I think there are enough of them that are, once they push that this is important to their God, they'll get right behind it.
I wish every one of those people would actually read the Bible without their gun glasses on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They make so many excuses for things that are obviously immoral that it's just incredible how they can be blinded into what's actually there.
It's more reading into it than reading what's there.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought of something just this week that I was a little surprised I hadn't heard it as an argument before. Mostly because I look at things and say, I'm not that bright. If I can think of it, someone else has thought of it before. And what was really interesting was uh, when I started arguing with a believer, they brought an article in from Answers in Genesis that supposedly addressed it. Said, okay, I guess some people have thought of it before, but Answers in Genesis, as usual, their answer really didn't have anything to say about it at all. And that is that if the serpent lied to Eve, then the serpent sinned before Adam and Eve. And so sin didn't enter the world through Adam and Eve. Sin entered the world through the serpent.
That
I don't
kind of
know.
contradicts their own scripture.
Right, exactly. And I've never heard anyone making that argument. Maybe I'm thinking maybe atheists don't use it because there's just so many contradictions in the Bible, why go for that one?
Well, one of the bigger problems, I think personally, is the fact that they said, death out of the world. Well, we have like leopards or whoever, you know, eating other animals, alive, tearing them apart, eating them while they're alive. And how did that happen? Did God curse everything and say, okay, because Adam sinned, then okay, now we have to change the behavior and digestive tract of leopards so they can do this? I mean, what follows there?
Yeah, that's something I've tried to wrap my head around as well. Clearly God supposedly changed the behavior so that they would now eat meat, but yeah, he'd also have to change their teeth, change their digestive tracts, um, change their DNA. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was on that live stream with One Ring and Bree, on herbivorizing predators, and just how insanely much that would have to change, and how it would just wreck the ecosystem and all that.
Mm, mm. Nerdy says, and if the end of the world through the serpent, does that mean that God lied? Yep, I guess so. If sin entered the world through the serpent, does that mean God lied? Yeah, obviously. Obviously. What gets me is that it was God that told the first ever lie. God said that they would die after they ate the fruit, and they didn't, hence God lied. Yep.
Well, now we're kind of going back and forth on that one with Twitter. I realized I pointed out, not all versions of the Bible have in the day they eat the fruit, but most of them do. And I looked up the Hebrew, and it does have it in Hebrew. So it's,
Yep.
and looking at the word in Hebrew, they do mean like day to day. So it does mean just that day.
Well, not only that, the word yom, as you pointed out, the Hebrew word yom is the one that Ken Ham uses to argue that the 7 days of creation have to have been 24-hour days.
Yeah.
So if yom means 24-hour day in the days of creation, then yom has to mean 24-hour day in the eating of the fruit until they die.
Yep.
The other thing is they say the serpent was really Satan. Well,
Mhm.
then how come God took away the serpent's legs and has to crawl in its belly?
That's actually
If the serpent didn't do anything, why blame the serpent?
That's actually an interesting one, because the Genesis actually does not say that the serpent was a devil or whatever. That's taken from Revelation, which the next verse after in Revelation, where they're getting that from, actually has Satan standing.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but Genesis actually just says it's just another beast, so it's just the serpent's just another
Right.
animal.
That's right,
Right.
and that's why God supposedly cursed the serpent, took away his legs, has to crawl in its belly. So it was so therefore, yeah, therefore the fiction that the serpent was really Satan is just wishful thinking, or basically just twisting things around to make it suit your theology.
Jade Feline says their God never told the woman not to eat the fruit, just the man. Nothing ever happened after she ate it, only when he did. Her name wasn't even Eve until after the curse, when Adam slurred it.
So look that one up again.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm gonna have to look that one up again. I'm not sure if it's.
Yeah, that was I've had a number of people tell me that God told Eve not to eat the fruit. No, he didn't. Go check your Bible again.
What curse are you talking of?
I'm what do you mean? You talking
Mm,
about the curse on the serpent?
Whatever, I don't know. Somebody said curse, and I wanted to know what kind of curse.
No.
I don't keep track of all these ghosts and goblins. Gee whiz.
If there was no death or carnivores in Eden, was the first fruit and veg not alive and then converted to be living after the fall? No, it was supposed to have been alive. Answers in Genesis does say there was plant death, but one of the things that they don't take into account is bacteria death. We all have bacteria, millions of them in our digestive system, and some of them die during the digestive process. And if they didn't, the rate at which they reproduce would cause us to bloat up and explode because of all the bacteria inside of us. So if the bacteria aren't dying, then the people would die, of course, but they can't die. But why are they eating in the first place? If they can't die, they have no need of eating. The whole thing just doesn't make any sense.
I'm concerned about this. You mean every time I'm pooping out some lives, I'm putting these poor creatures in the toilet?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my God. And I thought I was a good Buddhist just because I didn't step on the ants. No.
Well, it's all right. They're already dead when you poop them out.
And every time you
They've already
wash your
completed their
skin, it's the
lifespan.
same thing.
What'd you say, John?
Every time you wash, you wash, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your bacteria living on your skin.
Well,
Again,
I
this is
heard-
the case of the Bible writers, just seeing the world as they saw it, and that's how they presented things. That's why, for example, Noah, take either 2 or 7 of every animal. Well, the only animals they knew, they didn't know about penguins. They didn't know about, whatever, polar bears or whatever. So it kind of made sense to them. They had a very limited scope of what they saw.
Okay, Ox has the ultimate answer for us. The snake was Adam's pecker. The fruit Eve bit into was one of the apples hanging next to Adam's snake.
Well, there is some people who interpret it in that kind of a more sexual analogy. So
Ox, that sounds like something Dorhead would have said. I missed Dorhead. I hadn't seen him for a long time.
Yeah, I haven't either. John Hunter says it's almost like it was made up by ancient people who didn't know any better.
I heard someone say a long time ago that it wasn't an apple, but the pear under the tree.
Pear of what?
People.
Oh, okay. Or we could just sit back and contemplate a little bit and realize that it's all bullshit. So who cares?
I wouldn't care if it wasn't for one thing, and that is back to the original is all of the right wingers that seem to think that they have to vote right wing because that's what God wants them to do, and they believe that because their church leaders are telling them that, and they believe whatever their church leaders tell them.
Well, I'm having a religious experience here at home today.
Okay.
On in the background, no sound, but on in the background is college football, and so I've been trying to keep count of how many touchdowns he's blessed players with through the whole league, and then I'm going to get online afterwards and count the number of dead children. Yeah, that he should have been taken care of instead.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, that is good.
okay,
Hey, Robin's out delivering pizzas in Auburn. Anyone know what the score is on the Auburn game?
no idea.
Why would they name a college after a hair color? I just don't.
Well, I was looking up what Jade Feline said and the whole God never told old women not to eat and all that. It looks like it was God telling man, the man. So
Mhm.
it would be Adam. And the use of as for the use of Eve's name, they did mention her name only after the fall, but doesn't appear to be done in the manner of slurring it. So it
Mhm.
actually states specifically because she would become the mother of all the living. So it doesn't seem like it'd be a slur, but for the most part, yeah, it seems pretty accurate.
He originally called her bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, but I don't know what name that would be.
Rib woman.
That's
Auburn
right. It was
tied with
woman.
Georgia 10-10 at halftime.
Would
Bone
you?
of his bone.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Mark Caesar says, I'm not solely affiliated with any political party here in Australia. I vote on policies. And I used to too. There was a time when I did that before we became so polarized. Jade Feline says, these beliefs are harmful, but not everyone who holds them are terrible people. You just need somewhere to put the guilt heaped on them. Yeah, that's true.
well, it always annoyed me when people said, "Oh well, I'm going to vote Republican because of, this or this or this," and oh well, that's that what Trump is doing is different. Yeah, but you're voting for the party that he belongs to. You are supporting him, therefore you are with him,
Mm.
and people just can't accept that truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Captive Desk says, I have an Ouija board, tarot card, crystal balls, spells, herbs, and sage incense. Better some interdimensional beings showing up, or I will be bummed.
Did you get the quartz crystals? The pink one in particular?
And don't forget the Himalayan salt rock.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those are
Oh,
essential.
this is a good one. Mark Caesar says, I remember my mom telling me that women had one more rib than men, referring to Eve being made from Adam's rib. I was told that one too, not by my mother, but by my church. And yeah, I believed that for a very long time. And I was surprised when Robin told me, no, Mom, that's not true.
The other question is, why a rib? Why not a lung or whatever? Why a rib?
Um,
Why anything?
because
Well,
God
true,
likes
but
because God likes spare ribs.
Hmm.
Well,
I
they
mean,
didn't tell us if God, just instantly transformed this rib, or if he chewed the meat off of it first. We don't know.
it says that God likes the smell of burning flesh.
yeah,
See?
barbecue. Who doesn't like barbecued ribs?
I did hear a sermon on how God likes meat better than vegetables.
Hmm.
And that was based on Cain and Abel, that Cain and Abel each
Mhm.
offered their offerings, and Cain offered vegetables and Abel offered meat, and God accepted Abel's offering and not Cain's, and that's because God likes meat better than vegetables.
Come on, God, you need to have a balanced diet.
That's right. That's right.
I guess the smell of burning meat is better than the smell of burning vegetables.
Well, it does say that he considers burning animals to be a pleasant aroma.
Mm.
Yep, exactly.
I have this friend who used to be a USDA meat or food inspector, and in one of her rotations, she was assigned to some of the nasty slaughterhouses of Iowa, and she keeps telling these stories, these just horrible, gory stories of how the animals are killed and things. And it's like, Mary, come on, I don't want to hear this.
Mm.
It must have really made an impression on her for her to be just talking about him in such detail at her age.
Mhm. Okay. I've got a good question for everyone. If you could have a superpower or a magic spell that would allow you to avoid having to do one mundane task, that you could just use a spell instead of doing this task, what task would you not do and use a spell for instead? And I'll give you a couple minutes to think about that, and I'll tell you what my answer to that question would be. My answer to that question is showering, because I like to be clean, but on the other hand, I do not like being wet. And so if I could just wave my magic wand and make myself clean without having to get in the shower and get wet, that would be my spell.
Hmm.
Mage, what would
Probably
you do?
probably cleaning the house.
Okay.
I'm absolutely terrible at that, and especially the dishes. Is seeing as standing at the sink trying to wash the dishes after about 15 minutes, I start getting really bad head pains in my back.
Mm.
Mark Caesar
Now,
says, I love taking a shower.
Oh yeah, I love showers too.
to me, washing dishes though is kind of cathartic.
Mm,
It's
okay.
just, it's kind of rote. You're not really thinking about much. You're not to think about much to do it, and whatever. I guess my thing would be like cleaning the toilet or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. How about you, Jenny?
I have to go with Mage. Cleaning the house. I hate doing it. I'm bad at it, and I'm just as happy to skip it as do it. And you can't skip too many times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
So either give me the cash to hire somebody, or just poof it into existence.
Nom nomming nong says another one for washing up. John Hunter says easy ironing, proof of God's punishment.
I love ironing.
I kind of like ironing too, and I like folding laundry as well. And the reason I like those two tasks is I could do those while I'm watching TV, and so I can watch TV and feel like I'm productive at the same time. What's good about ironing for you, Jenny?
I just like it. I like making the wrinkles go away, and I like the sharp edges and the flatness, how flat something can get, and it's. I was never satisfied with how flat the earth was, so I took up ironing instead.
I generally don't wear anything that requires ironing.
Dean Kruger says driving in traffic. That's a good one.
Oh
Nerdy
yeah,
Rodent says,
driving. Yeah.
wait, you're supposed to clean the toilet?
Oh boy. Yeah, driving would be a good choice too.
Well,
That's a hard one.
actually, I've seen some of these crazy news people that just have to do something on health, no matter how stupid it is, and they are testing water or testing surfaces and what's clean and what's not. Where are the secret bacteria hiding on your cell phone? And it's one of the cleanest things around the house is your toilet bowl,
Mm-hmm.
because that water's being changed so often. It's actually pretty clean, unless you got some skid marks or something in there. But
Mark Caesar says gardening for me. I hate it. I need to get an apartment. I think Mage and Mark need to get together.
Well, I don't like lawn care. I like
Mm.
gardening.
Okay. Frankenstein says, well, I'd be ecstatic if I didn't have to get up around 3 to 4 a.m. with a full bladder. I'm working on it. Did you all hear they finally got the guy who killed Tupac? No, I did not hear that. I heard that they
yeah,
had a lead in the case, but I did not hear
Really?
that.
they nailed him yesterday.
Mm.
It
Interesting.
was the guy. I didn't catch his name. The guy who was the last surviving witness of the shooting, because apparently he's witnessed it because he did it. It's, okay.
Yeah, now if they could just cover John Benet Ramsey's his death.
I don't think that one's ever going to get solved. Ultimate Reductionist says, I admit asking, why don't self identifying psychics just play and win the lottery all the time? It's not disproof of psychic powers. I would still like an answer to it from them, though. Along those lines, one question that I have asked of the prosperity gospel people is why these people that are really big into it and have tons and tons of money don't just give all that money away and ask God for some more. Because if God really is blessing their ministries with all this money, because that's what God wants to do, then you should be able to go give it all away, and God will just give you more.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
I despise that whole concept of prosperity, Christianity. It's just it is so gratuitous, and these pastors know exactly what they're doing and saying, and lots of their membership is just people that just don't even understand what a pyramid scheme is or what mainstream marketing is, and they're just sucking them dry purposely, and they know it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the people are so desperate for money that they think, if I just give some to the pastor, I'll get more. And if it doesn't work, I just need to try again and pray harder. And
Yeah,
they keep blaming themselves.
that's
And
yeah, that's true. That's what they always do. They keep doing it and doing it and doing it. I wasn't faithful enough. I didn't have enough faith. I didn't blah blah blah. Yep.
mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, those people kind of remind me of Matthew 24:5. For many will come in my name, in claiming I am the Messiah, and will deceive many. I don't know why, but that verse always kind of comes to mind when I think of all these pastors and grifters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, then again, you think of the words of Jesus when he said, supposedly, foxes have, holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. So, yeah.
Well,
Again,
that's why we got dogs, because you can always lean on your dog as a pillow.
Yeah,
Mm.
there you go.
John Hunter says that ironing wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for all the wee tucks, pleats, and flouncy bits in the women's clothes, in the clothes that you women wear. I take over after Yahweh retires. Everyone must wear jeans and a t-shirt. Try ironing BDUs. If you don't like tucks and pleats and stuff, try ironing BDUs. And one thing that's funny is when the BDUs first came out, they said you weren't supposed to iron them, but my husband wanted his ironed all the time. And even though the army kept saying don't iron the BDUs, yeah, they were criticizing people if their BDUs didn't look sharp.
What
So
what are BDUs?
battle dress uniform.
Oh.
It was the first camouflage uniform that came out after the olive drab greens.
my
I've seen like
grandmother, who was from Germany, used to iron everything: sheets, underwear, everything.
underwear.
Well,
Yes.
my mom said that everything needs to be ironed, and as she taught me and stuff. There's everything. Sometimes you have to take something off the drawer and iron it before you wear it. Um, but then permanent press came along, and ironing almost stopped.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
T-shirt, if it's wrinkled, wear it for about 30 minutes. The wrinkles come out on its own.
Mm-hmm.
About the only thing I ever iron anymore is tablecloths.
I intentionally buy skirts and dresses made out of crinkle fabric, because you never iron crinkle fabric ever. You twist it up in a knot and let it dry.
Cool.
Yeah, it seems right. I mean, it's kind of in the name, crinkle.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Jenny, you said you like getting creases out of things. What kind of art do you like?
What
Visual
kind of
art. What kind
visual
of
art?
visual art do you like?
I've always been a film fan, and I don't say that as in movies, but film as in acetates and actual other film. I, I'm, I'm into old photography and the film. This is that would be my favorite art that I do. My favorite art to observe. It depends on again what medium you're talking about, but in illustration, photorealist drawing is just I just can't believe it exists. I just that people can do such an incredible job that it looks like an actual person standing in front of you. It's just amazing.
I like this one. When anyone makes a remark about my messy attire, I just use the "I'm an artist" excuse.
It works for me.
Hmm. Okay, another random question. What's your favorite comfort food? And again, I'll go ahead and start so that people have a chance to think about that. And for me, it's definitely macaroni and cheese. I love melted cheese. I love macaroni and cheese.
Wise potato chips.
Mm. Okay. Any particular reason why that brand?
Because first they don't bleach them.
Mm.
Most other chips, you look at them, they're all the same color because they bleach
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm.
I also like the salt on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, well, as far as potato chips go, I like the Cape Cod brand myself. But as for my comfort food, I guess pizza.
Pizza. Okay. Can't go wrong with pizza. How about you,
Um,
Jenny?
I guess my everyday best comfort food is tuna noodle casserole, tuna nuna as we called it as kids. Um, I just love it. I can't. I would have it every day if I didn't know it was so bad for me.
So how do
Um,
you make it?
how do I make it?
Yeah,
You,
I'm
bo-
gonna
you,
what kind of recipe you use
um,
as
well,
such.
I use a modified recipe from what my mom taught me. I'm using the same ingredients, but I do it on a stovetop instead of baking it in the oven, which I actually prefer. But I don't want to spend the hour waiting. Um, Noodles, get them noodly. Um, toss in a couple cans of tuna. Toss in a can of cream mushroom soup. Add water till it's thin enough for individual taste, and about 3 or 4 pounds of butter.
Sounds good.
Mm. I never put butter in mine. My mom always put olives in hers. She would slice up green olives and put those in, and adds a bit of sour to it. It was good.
You can also do the Gremlins 2 version and add lots of sherry.
Well, when I make it, I'll make it, and then I'll make. Oh, it won't fit in this pan to put in the oven, so I'll have to eat this. I eat this without being baked. So I do it
Mm.
both ways.
So tuna nuna is the everyday crap. The expensive comfort food would be my lasagna. It's
Mm.
so expensive to make. It's about
Mm-hmm.
$20-$25 nowadays. Well, maybe even more now that all these prices have gone up.
The prices of going up things. It's getting really difficult with buying stuff, especially around here. In the past the year and a half, the electric company is being price gouging in the state.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the my electric bill went from around $80 to about almost $200 a month.
God.
What
And
happened?
uh,
They just raised
well,
the rates?
yeah, they just raised the rates, and the commission's office approved it about a year and a half ago, and they've been raising it incrementally since then. And apparently, even they did this program where you're putting these solar panels in your house to reduce the cost and all that. I
Mm-hmm.
came across the article of somebody saying, "Yeah, that didn't help any. they still had to pay for a being connected. They still have to pay for a minimum amount of electricity, whether you use it or not. And the rates are still like over. They for them they said the rate was like 168% and more.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I heard somebody say something about DeSantis is maybe in cahoots with the energy companies.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
He's in cahoots with anybody who can make him money.
Yeah. Mark Caesar says, don't forget the pineapple on your pizza.
Oh, Mark, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Oh,
Well, I'm one of the 17 people in the country who doesn't like pizza.
Well,
really?
Don't worry, Mark. Our help is coming, and just stay put.
Mark Caesar says, Our Father, who art in heaven, deep pan be thy name. My pizza comes, I will go numb on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily anchovies.
Crust.
Oh, that works.
Frankenstein says, Cadbury chocolate is about as close to heaven as you can get. Peas be with you.
Oh yeah, peas. I put peas in my frozen peas.
Oh,
Frozen, never canned.
Yes.
Frozen peas in my tuna.
Yeah, we did too. I forgot all about that. But yeah, we used to do that too. My mom used to make that frequently when I was a kid.
Yeah, canned veggies aren't usually very good. The only thing I use canned is the stewed tomatoes. It's because I just want the juice and it's cheap. If I use that for my mac and cheese.
I am a stewed tomato person too. It's a real generational thing. I've discovered by observation that my mom's generation ate it all the time and she fed it to her family, but I'm the only one who was willing to eat it. And I don't hear of any young people who ever eat it. Some are even, oh, that's gross.
I never liked it.
Don't you eat like marinara sauce? That's just kind of like tomatoes in a liquid.
There's more to marinara sauce.
Well, no, I know, but it's still the two basic things: liquid and tomatoes.
Yeah, my grandmother's recipe for her mac and cheese casserole actually had it where she would take fresh tomatoes and stew them, and mash that into the casserole. And I always liked the taste of the tomato in it, but I didn't like the tomato itself in it. So I came up with just putting the juice on it.
Okay. I don't like raw tomatoes at all. They're just too gross to eat. But cook them, I'm okay. Or on a BLT. I don't know why I can eat a BLT, but I can.
But I generally don't like store-bought tomatoes, but I do like the tomatoes I grow. Much different.
What kind of tomato? There are so many different varieties.
Oh,
Do you like beefsteak? That tends to be redder and a little more. A lot of store-bought tomatoes are orangey. I call them plastic. Those are kind of what they are.
yeah,
But
they
if you
about
get
taste like plastic too.
But if you get fresh ones, usually locally grown, especially or organic ones, they're a lot better.
Yeah, the ones I usually grow for myself are the Everglade tomatoes. I also like to grow the Violet Jasper ones. There's one called a chocolate striped tomato. I think it was a type of beefsteak, and that was delicious. That was like eating a candied tomato. So, yeah, the ones that you go to the grocery store really aren't grown for taste. They're grown for longevity. That's kind of reason why they don't really taste all that great.
Frankenstein says, I worship the holy mackerel, only son of the great tuna. The mackerel has risen.
I don't know.
That's weird.
I don't know. That religion sounds a little fishy to me.
Oh,
Dad joke.
have people seen that cartoon with the Pillsbury Doughboy outside of a empty tomb, and it says he has risen?
Yes.
Yes. I saw one that also contrasted. It had a flat bread Pillsbury Doughboy, and then the regular one and the flatbread one, or the regular one said he is risen, and the flatbread one said he is not.
Yeah, it took 3 days to respawn. Oh, that's really bad lag.
What? What?
Oh, it's a gaming thing where you die, you respawn. So Jesus took
Oh,
3 days
oh,
to rise
oh,
again. So
I'm
3 days
sorry.
to respawn. That's terrible lag.
I didn't hear the spawn part. I thought it was something else.
Yeah.
Maybe sourdough took a while. Need to get some starter in there.
I'm
Well,
not a
we
big
are.
fan of sourdough. I mean, I'll eat it, but I wouldn't bother making it myself.
Yeah, I'm kind of neutral on sourdough. I don't like it plain. For if you gave me a piece of bread, sourdough is about the last one that I would pick. But I love sourdough toast, especially Cracker Barrel. Their egg sandwich, their fried egg sandwich, is made on sourdough toast, and the combination of the egg, the mayonnaise, and the sourdough toast. I really like that combination.
I've heard it said that sourdough bread is better if you have like arthritis. It doesn't affect you as much like regular gluten will.
Interesting.
I'm not really sure about gluten affecting arthritis.
Well, we are almost out of time, and I thank you all for coming. It has been great having a chance to hang out with you and just spend some time with friends. Before we go, though, I want to give each of you a chance to plug your own channels and anything that you might be doing. Mage, I'll let you go first.
All right, I have my channel Gardens Happen. You can go check that out. Well, I've been a little lax on releasing videos lately, but I'm hoping I can do. I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing some speculative of gardening using cryptid plants and other
Okay.
fictional things like like Audrey 2 and all that for Halloween. Just have a little bit of fun
Mm,
with it. Seeing as usually this is the time of year when whole gardening channels kind of go dormant.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And of course, the birthday girl, Jenny. What are there some
Well,
things you want to plug?
well, the standardized purple rhymes with orange show at 2 o'clock in the afternoon every Wednesday. That's Central Time. And other than that, no, you can go to my website and uh, what's it called? Submit? No, subscribe. Oh yeah, that's it. And but I don't produce any content, so I don't know why I would want to do that. But 187 people have.
Okay, very good. And we have a super chat from John Hunter. Thank you very much for the 10 pounds, John Hunter. And John says, well, time to study. Thanks for a chilled Saturday evening. You are most welcome. And John, tell us anything you want to plug or anything that you are involved in you'd like to talk about.
I'm not really. I don't really have any channel. I've thought about starting one. My problem is I'm interested in so many different kinds of things. It'd be
Hmm.
hard to hone down on one thing.
Okay.
Even
Okay.
though I have vision problems, I do like to take pictures. So
Mm.
and also I into astronomy, and I have a
Hmm.
special telescope. Even though I'm in a city with a lot of light pollution, it still takes good pictures. So I do that too.
That's neat. I love astronomy. I never get to do it, but I love it. That it was my first science related thing that my parents got me in 6th grade. It was just wonderful having it.
Nice.
It changed me as a person.
Hmm.
I could email you some pictures if you like.
Sure, anything you like. I got DMs and stuff like that in Twitter.
Okay. Very good. Next week, the guest is going to be Colin Bland, who is a former pastor and is going to tell us his deconstruction story. If you have not already seen the video that I released yesterday, that was a response to a Franciscan professor of philosophy who gave a absolutely horrible commencement address. Jenny helped me write the script because one of his points was about how people can't be transgender, and so Jenny helped
Oh,
write the.
that's who that was.
I
Yep.
watched that before the show here. So yeah, I just watched that.
hmm So yeah, if you haven't seen that already, please go and give that a view. The videos that I make on the in support of the transgender community tend not to get watched as much as some of the other ones. So if you don't mind giving me a little support on that one, I'd appreciate it.
Yep, it was definitely a video worth watching.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, can
And
I make just one more
yeah, go ahead.
plug?
Go ahead.
Everybody in the chat, if you are not aware of Plan 2025, track it down. It's 900 pages. It's written by the Nazis and funded by the billionaire Nazis. And it is their plan on how they completely intend to destroy American democracy if a Republican wins in 2024. And it's called 2025 because that's when it starts on
Mhm.
Inauguration Day. They're dead serious, and we will no longer be a democracy when it's over,
Yeah.
and we'll
Yeah.
have a lot of dead people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you to everyone who is added with their comments and questions in the chat. Thank you to all of you who are watching in the future, and live your life.